Hey, yo, it's Hit Boy, and you checking out Animal Status.
Animal Status, what's up? I'm DJ Wonder.
What up? It's DB.
And who's our special guest over here?
We have a producer. I think we've had, how many producers have we had already? We had The Dream.
Multiples.
We had multiple guys. But this is a guy who, if you're able to put out a track that 8 years later can still be played in a club and still get a good reaction from people, I think you have proved yourself worthy. In the realm of hip hop, especially with the short term shelf life of some people's beats and rhymes right now, and we have a guy who has proven that his tracks and his rhyme ability is also just as good. And we have Hit Boy sitting with us right now.
Appreciate y'all having me, man. For real.
Yeah. Welcome to the Midnight Society. We just lit the campfire over there. We're about to tell you a tale of Hit Boy. Are you ready?
Man, let's do it.
Okay. So we're really, while we're here, you're promoting a new album, Family Not a Group.
Family Not a Group, SOBRBE.
So how do you link up with people from Vallejo? Because you're from the IE, right?
Yeah.
How does
between Pasadena and the IE, just kind of, I lived all over Southern California, but the base of my shit is definitely between the IE and Pasadena.
And Vallejo is that's almost like Bay Area.
Yeah,
right?
that's NorCal for sure. Yeah, I mean, shit, I like their music just cause I knew certain girls from the Bay that was coming down playing their shit, and I was a fan of it. So when we linked up, like really, I really ain't even had no beats for them. Like I made that Both Sides. It's like number 2 on the album, Both Sides. Like that was the first song we made, and I finished that shit like 10 minutes before they got to the crib and we recorded that shit. And I was just happy to have something that impressed them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then we just fed off that energy.
You ever seen the videos of the old white guy that like yikes girls at the daytime parties in the
Oh
Bay?
yeah, I mean
That's gonna be me in about 5 years.
That's funny
I
as
have
hell.
no idea what you're talking about.
You don't like yiking?
Oh,
You don't
okay.
like yiking over there?
Yeah.
That's DB, by the way. He's got a question for you. Go ahead, D.
Well, the title of the album is Family Not a Group, and so how important is just family in general to you?
Family is everything, man. Like that's my real support system. Like up or down, they there for me. So like, you know, it's beyond the regular shit, man. Like that's my family. Like we really hang out. Like people come around my fam and they be like, damn, I wish my core was like this. I wish my family was this tight. So I'm proud of that bond we got.
All right, well, another family question rolling out of that is a lot of times you hear about when somebody, you know, becomes famous or becomes a celebrity, family members come out of the woodworks that you don't know about and people claim that they're related to you. Did that ever happen to you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I get DMs like, hey, cousin, what's up? I'm like, I never met you, but shit, what's up?
They throw out like names and shit.
For sure
like
that. Yeah, for sure that. I get a few DMs probably a month from different people that just call me cousin.
Have you been to a family reunion or function like that within the last 8 years or so?
Yeah, I went because a lot of my family is from like Muncie, Indiana, small town in Indiana, and they got like this thing called Muncie Day. So, and it's just like the biggest function like ever in the city because it's like not much going on ever there. So, yeah, I mean, shit, I met a lot of family that I didn't really know before.
Anybody start rapping for you? Like,
oh yeah,
walk up to
100
you?
for sure, definitely.
Hey, cousin, let me get a beat. No.
So we talked about, DB talked about it, like if your music can last the test of time. So Watch the Throne, that's probably was like your big entry into the hip hop world. Do you think like your biggest?
That was like the one that really like was on some radio shit and really turned it up. But even before that, the Drop the World with Lil Wayne and Eminem, like that was like when, you know, because me and my homeboy Chase, we did like a little video that World Star put up of us making a beat, and that's when people really started tapping into what I was doing in hip hop.
What do you think is, not besides the business stuff and everything else, what do you think has changed with you the most since you put that Drop the World record out and right now?
Man, I just grown, you know what I'm saying? Like I've just, all the lessons that I've learned, like it's just kind of compiled now. And anytime I'm making music, I'm looking at it like I'm sitting down for the first time, but then my instincts kick in and I'm just like making shit, you know what I'm saying? So just kind of staying locked into the music, man, that's everything.
Right. All right, so on Animal Status, you get to pick a song, whatever you want. It could be something off the new project, could be one of your old joints, could be somebody, could be any genre you want. You can pick whatever you want. What do you want to hear?
Man, I want to hear that 100 Summers by Meek Mill. I produced that shit, so
good
off
choice.
the Championships album, that shit just went platinum too. So
I like that. Shade 45, we're here with Hit Boy. Shade 45, what's up? I'm DJ Wonder.
And I'm DB.
It's Animal Status. We got who with us?
Hit Boy.
Yo, what's up with it?
He can speak for himself.
Sorry, man. I'm excited, man. It's,
That's what's up, man.
Shit.
We are excited because, well, we're glad you said Hit Boy, but you have a couple other aliases. One of them is Tony Fontana.
Tony Fontana, yes, sir. Shout out to the IE, man. Fontana, just Tony in my city. I feel like I did it big, like, you know, to be coming out of Fontana. I know Travis Barker from Fontana too, a few different people, but you know, I feel like I did a lot in hip hop. So Tony Fontana, Tony in my city.
So, but that's got to be a little homage to Scarface as well, right?
For sure. That
are you a fan of that movie?
Yes, for sure.
Like you can every time it comes on, you just sit and watch it straight
hell
through.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's weird. Certain movies are like that. Like you have to stop and just check it out whenever you see it.
Exactly.
But how about another nickname? Who's allowed to call you by your birth name?
Women. For real.
You think it's weird if you're dating somebody and they just call you Hit Boy all the time?
Yeah, that would be weird for sure. Yeah.
Hit.
Girl, you know my name.
Yeah. All right. That's a little weird, dude.
I don't know. It's my little creepy addition to the conversation.
But when you say if you meet a girl for the first time, do you how do you introduce yourself?
I usually try to say Hit, and they be like, "What did your mama name you?" So I end up just telling them my name, like, "Fuck it."
Yeah, so that's how you know. But if they don't want to know, then you know, then they might not be the one for you.
Nah,
maybe just the one for that night, right?
Right.
Big
Facts.
All right, I'm just gonna say, what's the craziest thing that's ever happened during a studio session? It could be female involved, could be
fight.
Somebody ran in there with guns. I have no idea what goes on. Like usually, you probably have your own studio.
Man,
space.
I ain't gonna flex. Like last week, I was in the studio with Dom Kennedy, and he parked his G63 right in front of the studio. We talking about we in West Hollywood. It's probably like 11 or around midnight. So like the guy at the front desk comes in the studio like, hey, somebody was just trying to break into Dom car. And basically the person dropped like 2 bags, right? So we pick the bags up, we bring them in the studio, and it's like all this random like equipment for like a blind person, like the stick and like the headset with like the stories and shit. And was just like, what the fuck? Was it just like what just happened? So a blind person tried to.
They thought it was their car.
No. They were trying to like break in the car, but they dropped the bag. So I don't know if they stole from the blind person or what happened, but it just was weird as hell.
What's it take for somebody to steal from a blind?
That's the worst person in the world,
That's
yo.
What I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I'm just glad y'all are safe, because if you ran into a robber that takes a blind person's cane, that's a bad dude.
That's a bad person.
Yeah.
I just steal from a blind person. What the fuck you think I'm gonna do to you?
No, for real.
I really thought you meant like a blind person was trying to get into their car. They're gonna drive away and they just picked the wrong one. You know?
Oh no, hell no.
That wouldn't be so bad. Because then you couldn't get mad at him.
Yeah,
to help him out.
Blind people can't drive though. All right, Hit Boy, get to pick another song. What do you want to hear?
Man, let's get into that "Stuck in the Streets" off this Family Not a Group album, SOBRBE.
Shade 45. It's Animal Status. Animal Status only on Shade 45. I'm DJ Wonder.
And I'm DB.
It's Hit Boy.
There we go. It usually takes a couple times.
I know. I have to do
now
the
you're ready.
No, I'm ready. Shit,
ready for radio.
Just got to get the timing right.
Right.
Me and Wonder, we both we also produce music, and I think if I had to choose the beat that made me say I want to do this for a living, or at least learn how to do beats and get into music production, was probably Dr. Dre, "Let Me Ride." Just the way he flipped so many samples in one song, like I never understood that process, so it made me want to dig further. So can you say what was the beat that initially made you go, shit, I want to do that?
Man, I'm gonna say like it was a few beats that Battle Cat did for King T back in the day. The first project that came out on Aftermath, people don't even know, was an album called "Thy Kingdom Come" by King T. That was like the first artist on Aftermath. So Battle Cat did a bunch of joints on that album, and that whole album was really, that was the point when I was like, I'm gonna do this shit. Like my uncle had it on cassette and he would play it all the time, and the way the bass was hitting and the sounds was hitting, I'm like, I gotta do this shit.
Speaking of Battle Cat, like this album, Family Not a Group, is I don't know if you maybe made beats that you thought that SOB/RB could get on top of. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it was something that you were, but do you feel like it was more of departure from some of the stuff that you've done in the past, the Hit Boy sound?
I mean, I don't really feel like I have a sound, and that's the beauty of this whole situation for me, because like I'm just bringing people in a different landscapes of sounds. Like I was just on Khalid album, you feel me? Like if you go listen to that record, that's damn near a blues, modern day blues record. But then you listen to S.O.B., it's straight funk, like straight, you know what I'm saying, just some hood shit. So I'm kind of just like, that's been my thing from the jump, like being a fan of Scott Storch and producers like who never really sounded the same. Like that was always my approach, just always come fresh. So the S.O.B. like it's really just you know, more of an introduction to what I'm on, you know what I'm saying? Like having 9 songs produced on the album versus when you hear me on the different projects and I might only have 1 or 2, like you getting more into what I'm doing as well as the artist. And
it's done kind of at similar times, so it all has like a kind of similar vibe, this particular album.
Exactly.
But I think a Hit Boy sound, maybe to me, is that the drums are always on point and they hit hard. That's important to you?
That's super important. That's you know, that's the knock. That's where people get that vibration from. So, you know, trying to create something that you can move to.
Right. Have you ever maybe when you first started, played a beat for somebody and you knew you were going in, you're like, yo, I cannot wait till they hear this. This is perfect for them. And then the person either just like put it on and was like, nah, next, or it was like, kind of like talking to somebody while you're playing. You're like, yo, I just spent like 15 hours making this.
That shit happens far too often. That should happen with niggas in Paris. That should happen with plenty, you know, big songs. Like other people had them first, like, and didn't use it. And it used to piss me off when I was younger and I didn't have just such the productivity. Like I wasn't able to tap into just making hard ass beats every time I touch a beat, but I feel like I've tapped into that now because we just in that era of just productivity and, you know, artists is coming in trying to get 3-4 ideas off every session. So that inspires me to, you know, get to the studio before they get there, make sure I got some shit ready to go and have maybe 4 or 5 ideas versus just like, oh, I made this one and worked on it for hours, like, and then the nigga come in and it ain't even it. So I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't even
listen to it again.
Yeah, exactly. Let's play this shit back. This shit hard.
I feel the same way, man. I've done stuff and I'm like, but I have like a OCD. Like I have to finish something. I can't just like be, all right, here's the first. Here, like I'm gonna do a little 8-bar joint. But okay, next idea. Like, I have to like sit there and like, okay, now I'm gonna put the cymbals on. Now I'm gonna do all this.
No, I feel it. I mean, you go through them different processes, but like I said, like when you in with an artist, it's just like you trying to crank, you trying to go at their speed because artists record fast these days. So I just had to tap into that. I'm the same producer. Like even with the Racks in the Middle joint, well, by Nipsey, rest in peace, Nip, his last single ever, like. I really got to produce that song. Like I really like the string section on the verses where they hit. Like that shit is mapped out like a movie for real. It's layers to that shit. So, you know, I just like, I don't know. I'm in a place of just locking in for real.
Right. We can hear it, man. What's the next song you want to hear?
Racks in the Middle by Nipsey and Roddy Ricch.
What a transition, man. You're built for this radio thing. AnimalStatus only on Shade 4-5.
I still can't get over that story with the blind bag.
Yo,
I'm just trying to think of like
I'm still trying to figure it out because I don't know if they robbed a blind person or was it a blind person involved in like the 2 people that, you know, because like when the dude came out, he scared them off. They hopped in their car and dipped off. So somebody wasn't blind. Or somebody drove off.
It could be an Ocean's 11 kind of thing where it's like they steal your car, then they come out with like the blind stuff. Like I could have never stole a car. Are you kidding me? You know what I mean? Like walking around. Like what are you talking about?
That's funny as hell.
Those things.
It was a whole costume.
AnimalStatus only on Shade 4-5. I'm DJ Wonder.
And I'm DB.
I'm Hit Boy.
Yeah. Now, we've seen some big producers go head-to-head recently. We never really thought it would happen like that. Like Timberland, Swizz Beatz, doing these beat battles, whether it's on stage or they actually did it at like a summer jam before.
Right.
Is that something you would ever do?
Hell yeah, for sure.
Okay, who's your dream opponent, or who's the opponent that you
whoever want to go against me.
You're not fearful of anybody.
Nah, whoever want to go against me, I'm with it.
Is there somebody that if you could take down, that's it, you're good to go?
Nah, see, I'm not doing that
one. I didn't say all that now.
No, but okay, so how about? What kind of stuff would you bring to the table if you had a beat battle? Like, would it be self-produced with like vocals?
I would just mix it up. Like, I'll have some sample shit in there, and I'll flip it on some futuristic shit. Like,
would you drop? Because Swizz played, I think, some unreleased stuff. Like, he kind of cheated in a way. He was like, nobody's heard this, but then
it ain't no rules like when it come to this music shit. Like, so. You better go in.
Do you have some hidden tracks that people may have never heard, reference vocals or real vocals from people?
Man, I work on songs every day, bro. I got albums with artists like artist that's hot right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got albums in the tuck. That's the productivity I'm on. Like, I was in the studio with Game and RJ, real heavy West Coast artists, and we did a whole project within like 3 days, and I swear this shit sounds like ridiculous, bro. So I'm excited for just, you know, to keep connecting with different artists.
Are you gonna go back, do you think, and revisit some of this stuff, or you think it's gone forever once you moved on?
For sure. I mean, bro, like, I got certain beats off that I had sitting for like 5 years, so I don't get rid of no ideas because you never know when it's gonna come in handy.
You bring them back up when people are listening to stuff like, all right, man, you didn't like the rest of this. Just let me go into this stash from 2015.
For sure, you know? Like, for sure. Yep. I just kind of try to keep them all accessible and have them in places to where when it's time to pull them out, I can play them.
Have you ever lost a beat when you were in the middle of making something that you were like, woo, and then all of a sudden?
FL Studio is good for that crashing and shit, but I'm like even deeper than that. This is the craziest shit, right? I never even talked about this. I've talked about the situation prior. Like, I had lost a drive with some Frank Ocean vocals for this Nas joint. Found the drive again and then lost the motherfucker again. So as it stands, like, that shit is gone.
Was it like camouflage or something?
Bro, like, I don't know what happened to that shit, but yeah, it was a Nas and Frank Ocean song.
So did you misplace it, the drive?
Yeah, I mean, just in transition, moving to different studios, like going around to different setups, and yeah, I don't know. It got misplaced.
You don't think there's an engineer somewhere ready to like hold you some ransom for that?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Well, if you ever find it, please return to Hit Boy. just label all your drives that moving forward.
Right.
You won a Grammy before.
Yeah.
That must have been exciting, right?
Nah, that was big for sure. I mean, that was for the niggas in Paris shit. So, I mean, I'm trying to get back there. We was nominated for the Sicko shit. I for sure thought that was gonna get one, but you know, it is what it is.
Well, speaking of Sicko mode, like Drake actually made a speech where he said Grammys don't matter. Mm-hmm. What's your feelings on that? Did it matter that night that you won?
Hell yeah. I mean, I feel what he's saying though, you know what I'm saying? Like, once you get to that level, like, it's not really, you shouldn't feel bad if you don't get one, but I mean, at the end of the day, we humans, man. Like, this shit is like, we put our all into this music, like, so niggas want they just. So, I mean, but it's just more motivation to keep going forward, getting better and locking in.
Right. And what do you think is the ultimate trophy? Or what are you working towards?
Man, just being happy, bro. Like, that's number one. Like, if your family's straight, you alive, like, man, you got a chance to do whatever. So, man, just being happy.
But because you're a successful person, I bet you're insatiable as well. You're never going to be satisfied with where you're at right now.
Why are you trying to mess with his answer?
Well, I'm just saying. That's what successful people do. You keep moving, right?
Nah, for sure. Hell yeah.
Right. All right, DB, you want to...
All right, so being that you're a producer and we have a lot of people who listen who want to aspire to be producers as well, what would you say right now would be the must-haves as far as equipment if you wanted to start out?
I don't really think it's a must-have because everybody use something different, but I use FL. I've been on FL since 2003, bro, like a long time, 16 years. So, like, I use FL, and, I mean, whatever you use, just, like, max out on that shit. Like, learn everything you can about it.
Do you use any kind of, like, analog equipment or even not on strictly in the computer?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I got a couple keyboards. I've had my Phantom for years, like my Roland, and I got this little what's that shit called, Mini Nova. I use that on certain joints. So yeah, but I mean, it's just so, like, it's so many programs now that sound real. It's like you could just do everything in the joint.
I always say that, like, I wish there was like Fruity Loops or whatever when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And like that I could have been making music. Like, I had to wait till I got like an MPC and all that other stuff when I was coming up. And so now that you're seeing a new generation come out, is there anything that you've seen that kids can mess with now that you wish was around when you in 2003?
Just even how, like, you know, even a lot of producers that's popping right now, like, you know, most collaborations be like kind of like getting a loop and then throwing some drums on it. Like, back in the day, I was creating my whole melody and doing my drums and seeing the shit from top to bottom. So just kind of how, you know, it's 15-year-olds that's able to make hits now. You know, it's just getting younger and younger and easier. So just trying to find a balance of, like, having something that could connect with those kids that, you know, because music is just, it's all over the place now, but also keeping my integrity.
Right. So
You remember when people were making beats on, what was it, like PlayStation or some shit?
Yeah, the Timberland's game was on PlayStation.
I was like, what is this bullshit? Like, I was so mad. I'd saved up for like pawn shop equipment and everything, and like people are just up there just making beats. Yo, I was kind of tight about
even
that.
Even though they had Fruity Loops and stuff, I always thought that you had to have it had to be coming out of MPC or something like that when you go to the studio. I thought if you showed up with like a laptop or something that people would like laugh you out of the studio. But not now. Like studio boards are just a laptop stand, basically, right?
For sure. I mean, it definitely changed, man. Like when I was coming up, I would have to lug around so much equipment. Like even with using FL, like I still had my big digi rack. I had the 61 key rolling. I had the screen. I had the desktop. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm talking.
What
about,
are you moving?
Like no, for real. Like I flew to work with Kanye for the first time over to Abu Dhabi, and I flew with all that shit, and I had to lug it around by myself. By the time I got to the studio with him and Pusha and opened my shit, all my shit was all broken up, but somehow it still worked. You feel me? So I just got it in.
That was destiny, man. Hit Boy, it was destiny. And you know what? Family, not a group.
Family, not a group. SOBRBE.
You should check it out right now. We appreciate you hanging out with us. We're about to go put that fire out over there. We don't want to leave it burning. We appreciate you coming by tonight.
For sure.
You're a member of the Midnight Society. This is Animal Status, and you get to pick one more song.
Man, let's do that. Young Wild Niggas from Family.
That was my pick. That was my pick.
Yeah.
Hold on.
He wasn't gonna say it, but that was his pick.
Yeah, I can't say the title.
It's YW. You say YWN.
Yeah.
YWN.
I'm not even gonna say that, but I will say the piano melody on there. Now you don't have to tell me what it is, but is it an interpolation of another song?
No, it just sounds familiar.
What do you think? What do you think?
It sounds like some No Limit shit.
Mystical,
sure.
Here I go. I believe. Yo. I was like, this is my joint right here. I don't know if it's the familiarity, but like the production in general is dope. But
thank you.
That's my pick from the album as well. Good job, man.
For sure.
All right. Animal Status on Shade 45.
Hey, yo, it's Hit Boy and you listening to DJ Wonder.